You bought that crystal bracelet because you felt drawn to it. Maybe it sparkled just right under the store lights. Maybe someone said it brings prosperity. So you wore it, and waited for things to feel lighter, clearer. Maybe wealth would come. Or at least a sense of ease. But then something strange happened, not dramatic, not alarming, but subtle. You started forgetting small things. You felt a little more tired. Some decisions felt harder to make, like your inner compass got quiet. The bracelet still looked beautiful, but somehow it didn't feel right anymore. It's easy to believe that all crystals are good for us. They're natural, ancient, and charged with meaning. But the truth is, not every stone supports every energy, and sometimes, what seems like a lucky stone can quietly shift things in the wrong direction, especially if it doesn't match your birth energy. We're not talking about superstition. We're talking about alignment, about how certain stones amplify or suppress what's already flowing inside you. Imagine trying to read in a room with too much sunlight. Bright, yes, but blinding. That's what it can feel like when a stone meant to attract ends up clouding your clarity. You don't lose anything overnight, but you might slowly stop feeling like yourself. So the question isn't which stone is popular right now. The question is, which stone truly speaks your language? This video isn't about trends. It's about tuning back and learning which energies support you personally, based on your birth rhythm, your real needs, your quiet knowing. Because wealth isn't just about money, and clarity isn't just about focus. Sometimes, the right stone doesn't just help you move forward. It helps you remember why you were moving in the first place. Part 1: Stones don't attract wealth, but they speak at the right time. You didn't expect a stone to change your life, but still you reached for it. Maybe it was citrine in a small velvet box, promising abundance. Maybe it was rose quartz, soft and familiar, calling in love. Or tiger's eye, fierce, gleaming with promise. Whatever the stone, it spoke to something quiet inside you. Not logic, not trend, something older. You didn't ask it to fix everything. You just wanted support. A little more clarity in the fog. A little more ease when life felt hard. But here's what no one tells you. Stones don't work on command. They don't deliver wealth like an Amazon package. They don't change your fate overnight. And most of all, they don't always give you what you think you want. What they do, if you let them, is speak. Not loudly, not with words, but with shifts, with whispers, with moments you almost miss, a tiny pause before saying yes. A flicker of discomfort in a room you used to love. A string of forgotten tasks you usually remember. Small things, but they add up. Maybe you've felt it. You wore that new crystal bracelet, and instead of feeling energized, you felt scattered. You placed a polished stone in your workspace, hoping to attract opportunities, and suddenly, the calls slowed down. You felt less clear, less grounded, not broken, just a bit off, and you wondered, is it just me? Here's the truth, it's not just you, it's the stone. And more specifically, it's the timing. Every crystal carries energy. That's not magic, that's mineral composition. Some stones are amplifiers. They bring momentum, fire, risk. Others soothe, absorb, settle. The problem isn't the stone. It's what it's doing to your energy right now. You may think you need push, but what you actually need is pause. You may crave prosperity, but what your body is asking for is peace. If you choose a stone that amplifies when you're already stretched thin, you won't rise, you'll burn out. And that's not failure. That's mismatch. Because here's the deeper truth, stones don't give you power. They mirror the power you already have but might be ignoring. And sometimes, the mirror shows something you didn't want to see. That's why the timing matters. That's why the same stone can feel helpful one month and heavy the next. It's not superstition, it's awareness, alignment, rhythm. Let me tell you about Kara. She bought a carnelian pendant because it boosts courage. She was going through a tough time. Her husband had passed the year before, and she was trying to start fresh, She thought more courage meant more healing. But after wearing it for 2 weeks, she found herself snapping at her daughter, waking up anxious, unable to focus. She wasn't getting bolder. She was getting louder, restless, edgy. Turns out, Kara didn't need courage. She needed rest. She needed quiet. And Carnelian, full of fire and speed, was shouting over her grief. When she switched to blue lace agate, cool, calm, nurturing, something softened. The tears came more often, but so did the clarity. She started writing again. Laughing sometimes. She told me, it wasn't the stone. It was that I stopped fighting the phase I was in. That's what I want you to hear. Because the real secret isn't which stone you pick, it's whether it matches the season of your life. Stones don't attract wealth like magnets. They nudge you. They align you. They reflect back what you're carrying, and when chosen well, they help release what no longer fits. That clarity, that wealth, it starts not from grabbing more, but from choosing better. Choosing what your body actually needs, what your energy quietly craves. We live in a culture that tells us to move faster, want bigger, reach higher. But sometimes, the most powerful stone for you isn't the one that pushes. It's the one that pauses with you. The one that helps you breathe. So if you've ever felt like your stone isn't working, maybe it's not supposed to. Not yet. Or maybe it's working in a way you didn't expect, highlighting the tension, not hiding it. That's not failure. That's awareness. Crystals don't bring luck, but they do bring truth. And sometimes, truth is exactly what we need before wealth arrives, before clarity makes its way back home. So ask yourself, not just what am I reaching for, but also, what am I ready to hear? Because that small stone in your hand, it's been listening all along. Part 2. Everyone has a birth energy cycle. You weren't born at random. The moment you entered this world, something began turning a rhythm that's been quietly shaping your energy ever since. Maybe you've never thought about it. Maybe it sounds too abstract. But let me ask you this. Have you ever felt completely off? In a space that looked perfectly fine? Or worn something that others loved on you, but you just couldn't wait to take it off? That's not mood. That's rhythm. That's energy. We all carry a natural blueprint, a kind of inner clock shaped by the season, the element, and the vibration of the time we were born. Some people walk with a sense of fire in their chest. Others carry the calm weight of the earth. Some flow like water, flexible but deep. Others are sharp and bright, like polished metal. And then there are those whose energy moves like wood, growing, pushing, needing space. None is better than the other. But each one reacts differently to people, to pressure, to stones. That's why the crystal that worked wonders for your friend might leave you restless. Why the same prosperity stone that energized your coworker makes you feel anxious, or even tired. It's not about luck. It's about fit. Let's talk about Alina. She was born in February, an energy linked to deep winter, water, and stillness. But she didn't like sitting still. She'd spent her whole life pushing, fixing, controlling. So when someone gave her a garnet necklace, great for motivation, they said she clung to it. She wanted movement. But after weeks of wearing it, she felt exhausted. Not from doing too much, but from resisting who she naturally was. Garnet lit a fire, but water doesn't need fire. It needs flow. It needs time. When Alina shifted to moonstone, soft, reflective, gentle, something in her finally exhaled. She wasn't being held back. She was being realigned. For the first time in years, she slept through the night. Her skin felt less tight, her words less rushed. Not because she did less, but because her energy finally stopped fighting itself. That's the power of birth energy. Not to label you, but to remind you, you don't need to chase what you already are. And you don't need to wear a stone that pulls you in the wrong direction, even if it's trending, even if someone swears by it. Because when a crystal aligns with your birth energy, something just clicks. The air feels clearer. Your thoughts move smoother. You don't have to force things. You remember how it feels to be fully yourself without noise, without struggle. Let's break this down simply. If your energy runs hot, naturally bold, expressive, quick to act, you don't need more fire. You need stones that ground, cool, and hold you steady. Think smoky quartz. Think black tourmaline. If your energy is quiet, internal, emotionally rich, you don't need to wake up. You need stones that gently support your flow. Think aquamarine. Think selenite. If your birth rhythm is fast, changeable, driven, you need balance, not acceleration. Stones like jade or hematite can help bring your energy home. None of this is complicated, but it is personal. It's not about astrology charts or complicated formulas. It's about listening to your body, to your reactions, to how you feel before and after wearing a stone, because your birth energy doesn't lie. And it doesn't need to be fixed. It just needs to be heard. This is where people often get it wrong. They chase energy like it's a problem to solve. But energy isn't a problem. It's a conversation. And your birth energy, that's your first language. Crystals are just tools to help you speak it more fluently. So if you've been feeling disconnected, stuck, unclear, it's not always because something is wrong with your energy. Sometimes it's just that the tools you're using are speaking a language your body doesn't understand. Or worse, one it no longer believes. Pause here for a moment. Think about the last time you truly felt in sync. Not just productive, but peaceful. Not just active, but clear. What was around you? What colors? What textures? What moments made you feel most like yourself? That's where the answer lies. When we honor our birth energy, we stop performing. We stop reaching for stones that don't speak our name. We start attracting not just wealth in the bank, but wealth in the body, in the mind, in the spirit. Clarity doesn't come from pushing, it comes from matching. And matching begins with remembering who you were, before the world told you what you should want. The earth doesn't bloom in winter. And the sea doesn't ask for flame. You don't need to change your nature to grow. You just need to choose what supports it. And sometimes that starts with a single stone. Part 3: A real story. Linda and the wealth stone. You were told jade is a lucky stone. A stone of peace, protection, prosperity. And it is. But here's the thing most people don't say out loud. Even the gentlest stone can become heavy when it's not what you need. Jade is often passed down in families, gifted with love, worn like a quiet promise. You might keep it in your pocket or around your neck, never questioning it. But lately something feels stuck, not wrong, just unmoving. And maybe deep down you've started wondering, what if the stone that's supposed to help me is actually holding me back? Let's be clear, jade isn't bad. It's grounding, protective, deeply ancestral. But when we hold on to something because it feels safe, not because it feels right, it can become an anchor instead of a guide. And like an anchor, it doesn't sink you. It just keeps you from drifting toward the change you quietly crave. Take Laura. She's 58, a retired nurse, steady, thoughtful, loved by everyone. She's worn her jade bangle every day for over 20 years. It was her mother's. It never left her wrist. But in the past year, she's felt this pressure. A kind of invisible weight she couldn't name. Her days were full, but her heart felt dimmed. Her ideas never left the page. Her joy felt postponed. And when we talked, she didn't even mention the jade until I asked her what she never took off. She paused. "My bracelet," she whispered. "I haven't thought about it in years. But now that you ask, I don't know if I'd know who I am without it." That's the moment. That whisper. When an object begins to blend so deeply with your identity that removing it feels like a loss, not of the stone, but of the self you've always had to be. Sometimes, jade holds memories we haven't yet outgrown. It holds protection we no longer need. It holds stories that were never ours to carry, but we wore them anyway out of love, out of habit, out of fear. So how do you know if your jade is helping or hindering? Start by noticing your energy. Not in a mystical sense, but in the simplest, most human way. Do you feel more clear or more clouded after wearing it? Do you feel soothed or silenced? Jade works best when you are ready to receive stillness. But if you're in a season where your soul needs expansion, expression, or risk, jade can dull that edge. Not by accident, but by design. Its job is to protect, to stabilize, and sometimes, to pause growth until you're strong enough to handle it. But what if you're already strong and just haven't allowed yourself to move? Jade is loyal. It's the friend who holds your hand in the storm. But even loyal friends can keep you in places you've outgrown. Out of love. Out of fear that change might hurt. And jade, like those friends, needs to be released when your heart whispers for more. That doesn't mean you throw it away. You honor it. You thank it. You place it in a drawer, or on a windowsill, or wrap it in cloth and let it rest. You say you've done enough. I'm ready now. And here's where the shift begins. When Laura took off her jade bangle, for the first time in 2 decades, she said it felt like removing a script I didn't realize I'd been reading from. The next morning, she signed up for a watercolor class she'd been putting off. She slept better that week. She didn't feel lighter immediately, but she felt different. As if a voice she hadn't heard in years had space to speak again. That's what misaligned stones do. They don't break us. They just quiet parts of us that are ready to come alive. And when you remove the thing that's been holding the pause button, not because it's bad, but because its job is done, you remember what it feels like to be in motion. So ask yourself, have you been wearing jade to feel safe? Or because you're scared of what would happen if you took it off? Has your peace started to feel like silence? Has your protection started to feel like pressure? And most importantly, is your jade still helping you grow, or is it gently holding you still because you're afraid to move? These aren't easy questions, but they're honest ones. And if your answer surprises you, that's okay. You're not failing, you're waking up. And even jade, in all its stillness, respects awakening. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do isn't to hold tighter, but to let go. To trust that your next stone, your next season, your next self is waiting on the other side of that quiet release. Because clarity doesn't always come from adding more. It often arrives when we put something down. And maybe, just maybe, your jade, beautiful, loyal, beloved, is ready to rest now. Not because it failed, but because it did exactly what it was meant to do. And now so can you. For the right stone doesn't just attract, it untangles. You didn't come here just to chase wealth or clarity. You came here because something inside you feels tangled. Not broken, not lost. Just knotted. Like a drawer that won't close right. A thought that never finishes. A version of yourself you can't quite access anymore. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to wonder if it's not about attracting more, but unraveling what's been in the way. Because sometimes, what we need isn't energy that charges ahead. It's energy that listens, softens, loosens. And that's what the right stone can do, not by changing your world, but by untangling you from the parts that no longer belong. Not all pain speaks in loud ways. Sometimes it shows up as indecision, or a smile that's polite but tight, or a memory that lingers longer than it should. That's where stones come in, not to erase, but to remind. Not to force healing, but to sit beside it quietly until you're ready to exhale. The right crystal doesn't just attract good things. It helps release what you've kept pressed down, stories, patterns, versions of you that were once necessary but are now quietly asking to be let go. Let me tell you about Diane. She's 63, a retired school counselor, thoughtful, patient, the kind of woman others turn to, but who rarely turns inward. She came to me not looking for change, but looking for something she couldn't name. I don't feel sad, she said. But I don't feel anything. We tried a few stones. Rose quartz felt flat. Citrine felt like static. But when I handed her a piece of lepidolite soft lilac, layered like pages of a story, something shifted. She held it for a few minutes, then said, "It feels like a letter I never sent." She didn't explain what that meant. She didn't need to. Sometimes, our pain isn't loud. It's quiet, archived, folded, and the right stone doesn't fix it, it opens the drawer. Gently, no rush, just enough light to see what's inside. Over the next few weeks, Diane started journaling again. Nothing profound. Just fragments. Moments. But her voice returned to the page, and more importantly, to herself. Not because lepidolite did something, but because it created space. That's what untangling looks like, not a dramatic shift, but a soft one. A slow loosening of what's been held too tight for too long. We often think healing has to be loud to be real, but it doesn't. Sometimes, healing is whisper soft. Sometimes, it's a single breath where there used to be tension. And the right stone, when aligned with your energy, your phase of life, your quiet needs, doesn't demand. It listens, and in that stillness, it invites something old to soften, to unravel, to be rewritten. Think about your own life, the patterns you've repeated, the words you always swallow, the emotions you manage before anyone else notices. Those knots don't come undone by accident, and they won't respond to force. But when the right stone sits beside them, calm, consistent, clear, something inside begins to trust again. Because it's not about doing more, it's about allowing more to rise, allowing grief to move, allowing joy to stay longer, allowing clarity to show up in the small, unglamorous moments, like choosing what to keep and what to finally put down. That's where the real magic lives, not in attraction, but in permission. The right crystal won't hand you a miracle, but it might sit in your palm one morning, and suddenly your breath feels easier. A thought softens. A voice inside you, once buried, speaks again. That voice doesn't need fixing, it just needs space, and safety, and time. Let's name some stones that carry this untangling energy. Lepidolite for those overwhelmed, but too composed to fall apart. Rhodonite for grief that looks like productivity. Black obsidian for truths you're ready to face. Amazonite for boundaries you've struggled to voice. They're not loud stones, but they are honest ones. And sometimes, honesty is the only medicine that works. If you've been wearing a stone that's supposed to boost you, but instead you feel heavier, consider this. Maybe you don't need more momentum. Maybe you need to untie something first. Because when we carry knots, even the lightest thing can feel heavy, and even clarity becomes cloudy when we're looking through layers of old, unspoken weight. That's why, before you ask a stone to attract, ask it to sit. Ask it to stay. Let it learn your rhythm. Let it match your breath. Let it become a companion, not a tool. A witness, not a fix. That shift, subtle as it seems, is where everything starts to open. So if you're watching this and something inside you is stirring, something gentle, like recognition, then pause. Don't rush. Don't force. Just sit with it. Maybe today's not about finding the next big breakthrough. Maybe it's about letting one small knot finally loosen. Maybe you don't need more crystals. Maybe you just need the right one, at the right time, to help you come back to yourself. And when you do, you'll notice something strange. You won't feel bigger. You'll feel lighter. Part 5: Misplaced stones, misguided energy. You bought the right stone. Maybe even at the right time. You listened to your energy. You chose with care. You placed it somewhere meaningful, maybe by your bed, your entryway, your desk. And yet, things haven't felt quite right. Not broken. Not dramatic. Just slightly off. As if something in your space isn't breathing fully. You rearranged your schedule. You lit candles. You blamed it on stress. But here's a truth most people miss. Even the most aligned energy can go quiet when it's placed in the wrong place. Energy doesn't just live in objects, it flows through rooms, settles in corners, gets stuck behind clutter. And crystals, they're sensitive. Not in a fragile way, but in a way that reflects what's around them. When you place a stone somewhere that contradicts its nature. Too much heat, too much darkness, too much movement. It doesn't work less. It just works differently. Sometimes, even against you. Take citrine. Bright, joyful, solar. A stone that invites clarity and prosperity. But place it too close to a heat source, your stove, a radiator, a sunny windowsill, and its amplifying energy can become overstimulating. You might find yourself irritable, unfocused, impulsive. Not because the stone is wrong, but because it's too charged in a space that was already running hot. Or consider amethyst. Cool, intuitive, restful, perfect for calming thoughts. But when tucked away in a dark, unused drawer, its energy becomes stagnant. Instead of soothing you, it can deepen emotional fog, make rest feel like avoidance. You don't feel rested, you feel numb. Again, not because the stone is wrong, but because it's out of rhythm with where it's been asked to work. Let's look at the bedroom. A place of restoration, dreams, breath. If you fill this space with stones meant for activation like carnelian, pyrite, or red jasper, you might sleep lighter, wake more often, carry tension into your mornings. You thought you were charging the room, but what it needed wasn't charge, it needed calm. Now the living room, meant for connection, conversation, shared presence. If you place grounding stones like black tourmaline in every corner, the space might feel safe but also heavy. Silent. Like the room is waiting for something, but unsure how to welcome it. You may find guests not staying long, or laughter that feels quieter than it should. Even the entryway matters. This is where energy first enters your home. What you place here tells the space what kind of energy is allowed in. If you've put something protective like obsidian or hematite, but you're also trying to call in opportunity, creativity, love, the stone may be shielding more than just negativity. It may be blocking flow altogether. This isn't superstition. This is interaction. Stones don't just live in your space. They respond to it. They reflect it. They either work with the rhythm of your home or quietly fight against it. And when that happens, you feel it. Not always as chaos, but as resistance. A phone call you don't return. A meal that doesn't quite nourish. A sigh you didn't know you were holding. The solution isn't to remove every stone. It's to relocate them with intention. To ask, what is this space asking for? Is this corner craving energy or peace? Does this surface need brightness or stillness? Is this where I make decisions or where I come to let them go? Let me tell you about Marie. She had a beautiful rose quartz cluster on her office desk for compassion and calm. But she couldn't focus, kept rereading emails, avoided making firm decisions. When I asked her what that space was for, she said, "It's where I negotiate contracts." Rose quartz is lovely, but in that context, it softened her voice more than she needed. We moved the stone to her bedroom and replaced it with a small piece of fluorite, sharp, clear, stabilizing. Within days, she felt more direct, not harder, just firmer, more herself. This is the beauty of right placement. It doesn't require more crystals, just more attention, and maybe more honesty. Because sometimes we place stones where we wish the energy were different. Hope it will change everything. But energy doesn't override intention. It enhances it. So if you place a stone of abundance in a cluttered, ignored corner, it won't fix the neglect. It will echo it, quietly, repeatedly, until something shifts. So here's your gentle invitation. Walk through your home slowly. Look not with judgment, but with curiosity. Where does your breath catch? Where do your shoulders tighten? Where do you linger and where do you avoid? Ask your home what it's been trying to tell you. And then, ask your stones to listen with you. Maybe the citrine by the stove needs to move to your journal space. Maybe the black obsidian in your entryway belongs on a nightstand, protecting your dreams instead of your doorstep. Maybe that rose quartz you've hidden in a drawer just wants sunlight again. Crystals are not decorative objects. They are energetic companions. And just like people, they need the right role to thrive. When you place the right stone in the right space, something shifts. not loudly, but meaningfully. The room exhales, your body softens, your choices sharpen. The energy no longer pushes or pulls, it flows, because your home, like your spirit, isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for alignment, and sometimes, all it takes to restore that alignment is to move a single stone 2 feet to the left. Final. So maybe now you're holding that stone differently, not as a solution, not as a trend, but as a companion, a mirror, a conversation you've been meaning to have with yourself. You see, this wasn't a video about crystals. Not really. This was about remembering that everything around you holds a frequency. And everything you choose, what you wear, what you carry, where you place it, either pulls you deeper into yourself or slowly drifts you away. Crystals aren't magic. They're mineral. They carry structure, vibration, weight. But the way they work is through your willingness to feel, to listen, to observe when something shifts, not just outside you, but inside. Because when a stone is right, it doesn't dazzle. It dissolves the noise. It helps you make better choices. It softens what's been stuck. It reveals where you've outgrown your patterns and where you're still holding on, even gently, to things that no longer feel like home. You may have realized that a stone you loved once no longer speaks to you, or that one you kept in a drawer is ready to return. That's not failure, that's alignment. That's the quiet brilliance of this work, not to accumulate, but to attune. To notice when your needs shift, and to trust that your energy is never wrong, it's just evolving. So if there's one thing I hope you take with you from this, it's this: your clarity matters, your peace matters, and the right stone won't change your life, but it might return you to the place where your life is waiting to change. Thank you for spending your time here, for listening, for being open, for honoring your intuition, even in quiet ways. And whatever you're walking through, whether you're seeking light or simply letting go of weight, I hope the next stone you choose helps you remember something you already knew: you are allowed to shift. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to begin again. Until next time, may your space support you. May your energy stay true. And may every small thing you touch guide you back to yourself. You're not late. You're right on time. Thank you. And take good care.